Hello everyone. Say, I would like to explain you the fifth semester paper AFM Advanced Financial Management under that mergers and acquisitions. Say, you know that what is merger, what is acquisition. Merger is two or more companies combined together and form a new company is called as merger. What is acquisition? Say one company will take over the other company is called as what actually acquisition. It is just like what you have read in your accountancy, it is called as amalgamation and absorption. Say this will happen for various reasons, right? So just let us understand reasons for expansion. Existence that you would like to be always in the market, then advantages of large scale, that means you want to expand your business with a huge what you call selling, use of higher profits, monopolistic ambitions. You know that monopolistic ambitions means it is called that means you want to become, you attain the monopoly. Then better management or natural urge, that means you would like to have what actually expand. These are the reasons for what actually either merger or what actually the acquisition, but usually it is for mergers rather than what actually acquisition. So meaning of mergers and acquisition, according to the Companies Act 1956, a merger is a combination of two or more entities into one. The delivered effect being not just accumulation of assets and liabilities of the distinct entities, but organization of such entity into business. That means it is not the question of combining with the various factors. You combine two or more companies together and make one company. That is according to the Companies Act 1956, and in 2013 also reframed, but with there is no change, right? Now next it is, what are the forms of mergers and acquisitions? So what are the forms? Negotiating merger or friendly takeover. That means one company will have a what do you call the negotiate with the other company, or will have a talk with the company and take over. Hostile takeover or raid. That means forcefully that you are going to take over. That is called as what I say hostile takeover or raid. RAID. Arranged merger or boil out merger. So that means you will thoroughly go through with all your balance sheets and see that how it can be done. That means with what do you call consent. I can say consent of the two companies, that you will go for the merger, which is called as what I say arranged merger. Reverse acquisition or takeover, it is sometimes the private company will take over public company, or on the other way, such companies when takes over, then it is called as what reverse acquisition or takeover. Now, types of mergers and acquisitions. We dealt with forms of mergers and acquisition. Now types of mergers and horizontal merger. Say the same type of two companies are dealing with the same type of products when they merger, which is called as what actually horizontal merger. Example, Lipton India and Brook Bond India. When they say that both they are dealing with the same type of products, when they merge, it is called as what actually horizontal merger. What is vertical merger? Vertical merger is that means with the main product right from what you call the sub product, everything will be what actually merged. Example, assuming you have a pen, in that pen you have what actually refill. Say if one company is producing what you call the outer part, the other company is producing what you call the inner part. If the two companies merge, then it is not called as horizontal, it is called as what actually vertical merger. That is Google acquired Motorola Mobility. Then concentric merger. Say concentric merger is called as services are complementary. Services are complementary. One is dependent on the other. That is called as, without that you cannot go. Then that is called as what actually concentric merger. Then conglomerate merger. What is conglomerate merger? So it is a merger of different products when they combine together and make one company, which is called as what a conglomerate merger. Walt Disney company merged with an American broadcasting company. So there are two different what actually services which is giving, but they combine together, then it is called as what actually conglomerate merger. Now, the question arises that how we are going to evaluate all these mergers. That is financial evaluation of a merger. Number one, asset based valuation, which, which is called as what do you mean by book value or realizable value. Then earnings or dividend based evaluation, that is you have to find out on the basis of dividend or earning per share. Or the third one is CAPM, capital asset pricing model based on valuation, right? Then the fourth one, valuation based on present value of free cash flows. Present value, that is very important. Valuation based on present value. You know that what is present value? Always you should go for time value of money. Today what you have in hand, which is much more than what you are going to have in future, right? Say that is called as what do you mean by present value. Valuation based on present value of free cash flows. So on this basis, where we have to work out problem, that is called as financial evaluation of what actually merger. For better understanding, I have given you the few examples. You just go through it so that in the examination, if they ask, mention any two important major acquisition which has happened in India. Sometimes where I have seen in the question paper, they used to ask for 2 marks, such type of question. For that I have listed, you just go through it and you can jot down some of the major mergers and acquisition in India. Top mergers and acquisition deals in India. Start with Tata Steel, Chorus, Vodafone, Hutchinson SR. Likewise, it is there. You can just go through it. Okay, let us work out few problems on mergers and acquisition on various concepts. Problem number 1. A Limited wants to take over B Limited. A Limited wants to take over B Limited, right? And financial details of both the companies are as follows. It is very simple. Takes over means it is called as what actually acquisition, right? So both the companies are as follows. Details: A Limited, B Limited. Equity share capital of rupees 10 each, 2 lakh, 1 lakh. Then preference share capital 40,000 dash, share premium dash 4,000, profit and loss account 76,000, 8,000, 10% debentures 30,000, 10,000. Total liabilities is 3,46,000, 1,22,000. So this is one part, that is liabilities part. So you should be very careful. Now fixed assets 2,44,000, 70,000. Current assets 1,02,000, then 52,000. Total assets 3,46,000, 1,22,000. So balance sheet is tallied. So first always you should see that whether balance sheet tallies or not. Profit earned after tax and preference dividend 48,000, 30,000. Market price per share 24, 27. So they have given market price as 24 and 27. You are required to determine the share exchange ratio to be offered to the shareholders of B Limited based on number 1 net asset value, second one EPS, and third one market price, which should be preferred from the point of view of A Limited. So now they have given three options. Then find out the share exchange ratio which is feasible for A Limited to take over B Limited, whether a net asset method is feasible or EPS method, that is earning price per share, is feasible, or market price. Market price has already been given. So we have to calculate individually the share exchange ratio on each one of the methods. Then ultimately we should say which one is preferable for A Limited, right? So let us first work out the calculation of share exchange ratio based on net asset value, right? Everything is given. Say let us take total assets. Now you can say particulars A Limited, B Limited, make two columns, inner column, outer column, inner column, outer column, just like that what you are doing in what actually in balance sheet, but it is vertical. So total assets, total assets 3,46,000, then 1,22,000, 3,46,000, 1 lakh. Take out the liabilities, that is the liabilities, outside liabilities as well as preference share capital to find out net worth. Net worth is only of equity shareholders. So less 10% debentures. 10% debentures is there only in, that is in both the companies is there, that is 30,000 and 10,000. 30,000, 10,000 outside liabilities. Then preference share capital, it is there only in whom actually preference share capital is there only in A Limited. How much? 40,000. So take out 40,000. Nothing is there in B Limited. Take out, right? So it becomes 70,000, then 10,000, then it becomes how much actually? 2,76,000, 1,12,000, which is called as net worth. Net worth or net asset value. Net asset value. You can call this one as A. You can call it as this one as what actually? A. Now 2,76,000 and 1,12,000 is A. Now number of equity shares. Number of equity shares. You call it as this one as B. You call it as this one as B. Say it is very simple. 2 lakh shares of rupees how much? 10 each. Means how many shares are there? 20,000. 1 lakh 10. 10. It comes to how much actually? 10,000. So it is very simple. If you don't understand, you can write like here 2 lakh divided by 10, it is 20,000 shares. 20,000 shares. Then here you say 20,000, then 1 lakh divided by 10, it is 10,000. Now number of shares is 20,000 and 10,000. Now what you have to do? That is share exchange ratio. Share exchange ratio. What is the formula? Net worth per share of target firm. Target firm means the firm which we are acquiring, right? Or the firm is ready to sell. Then divided by net worth per share of acquiring firm, the company which is acquiring the other firm. So here it is very simple. Net worth per share of target firm is what actually? it is nothing but what actually B Limited, and net worth of per share of acquiring company is what actually A Limited. Now we have to find out what is the net worth per share. So net worth per share is equal to A divided by B. A divided by B, that is 2,76,000 divided by 20,000 is equal to 13 rupees 80 paisa. 13 rupees 80 paisa. Likewise 1,12,000 divided by 10,000 is equal to 11 rupees 20 paisa. Now this is the net worth. So this is the target company. This is what actually the acquiring company. Then we will find out how much it is. 11 rupees 20 paisa divided by 13 rupees 80 paisa is equal to 0.81. So exchange ratio is 0.81. That means every one share of A Limited is equal to the other company, that is B Limited, is only 0.81. Right? Now how we have to do it is very simple. The number of shares to be issued by A Limited is 10,000 shares of B Limited into 0.81. That means it has to issue 8,100 shares. It has to issue 8,100 shares. So this is as per the first method. The first method is what actually net asset value method. Under net asset value method, now they have to issue 8,100 shares to B Limited by what actually A Limited. Now let us go for the second one as per the problem, that is calculate actually share exchange ratio based on EPS, that is earning per share. So as usual it is said that it is profit after tax and preference dividend. After profit after tax and preference dividend is 48,000 30,000. 48,000 30,000. Number of equity shares 20,000 10,000. 20,000 10,000. Then EPS earning per share is equal to profit after tax and dividend divided by number of equity shares is equal to 48,000 divided by 20,000 shares, then 30,000 divided by 10,000 shares. 10,000 shares. So it comes to 2 rupees 40 paisa per share. It comes to 3 rupees per share. 3 rupees per share. Now here it is 3 rupees, but here it is only 2 rupees 40 paisa. Now EPS of B Limited is more than what actually A Limited. That is not a thing. Now we have to calculate whether we can go for net asset method, EPS or market value. Then which one is workable, that we are going to take. Now share exchange ratio is equal to share exchange ratio is equal to EPS of target firm divided by EPS of acquiring firm. Target firm divided by acquiring firm. EPS of target firm is how much actually? 3 rupees. Then EPS of acquiring firm is 2 rupees 40 paisa. So exchange ratio is 1.25. That means for every one share of A Limited, B Limited will get 1.25 shares. So the number of shares to be issued by A Limited is 10,000 into 1.25. That means it has to issue how much? 12,500 shares. It has to issue 12,500 shares. In the first case, we were issuing 8,100 shares. In the second case, it is 12,500 shares. Now the third one, calculation of share exchange ratio based on market price of A Limited and B Limited. So market price per share which has been given the problem, you need not worry, it is 24 and 27. 24 of A Limited, 27 of A Limited. Here also see that is B Limited market price is more than what actually A Limited. Now share exchange ratio is equal to market price per share of target firm divided by market price per share of acquiring firm or market price of B Limited divided by market price of A Limited. But let us use only one norms. In the previous two we have used target and acquiring. Now also we have used target and acquiring. So 27 divided by 24 is equal to 1.125. That means it is very simple. A Limited share of 1 share equals to B Limited is 1.125 share. So the number of shares to be issued by A Limited is 10,000 into 1.125. It has to issue 11,250. It has to issue 11,250. Now it should decide. Say, as per the first one, it is how much actually? 8,100. As per second one, it should issue, that is 12,500. As per the third one, it has to issue 11,250. So which one is workable? Say here, for the first exchange ratio, net asset 8,100. Second one 12,500. Third one 11,050. So nobody is ready to say, assuming that you go for a market and you will want to buy price. One product price is 8,100, the other product is 12,500, and the other one is 11,050. But all products are one and the same. Which one you prefer? You prefer 8,100. Likewise, that 8,100 is preferable. So what you have to write, the comment or what you call conclusion, whatever you call it as, right? A Limited should prefer A Limited should prefer the exchange ratio based on net asset value because under that method only minimum number of shares to be issued, that is 8,100. That means this is acceptable. So this is how we have to work out problem when it has become in three methods. So 99% you will get this problem for 15 marks. Now problem number 2. Company X is considering the purchase of company Y. The following are the financial data of the two companies. Company X, company Y, number of shares 4 lakh, 1 lakh, earnings per share 6 and 4 rupees 50 paisa. Then you want to find out the total earnings. It is very simple, 4 lakh into 6 and 1 lakh into 4 rupees 50 paisa. Then you will get what I create total earnings. Market value per share 30 rupees, 20 rupees. Assuming that the management of the two companies have agreed to exchange shares in proportion to number 1, the relative earnings per share of the two companies. That means they want to see that if it is on the basis of relative earnings, that is earning per share of X and Y, what is the impact, right? Whether it will increase or it will dilute, right? Then second one, if they exchange 4 shares of X company for every 5 shares held in Y company, that means Y for every 5 companies they are going to get 4 shares of what actually X company. In such a case, what is the impact, right? So we have to find out these two things and say that you are required to illustrate and comment on the impact of merger on the EPS. So you have to find out what is the impact of EPS but is after merger, right? So we have to find out one by one. Now first one, effect of merger on EPS, that is earning per share, when exchange ratio is in proportion to relative EPS, that is earning per share, relative earning per share. So that is the first question what they have asked. Then find out that. So very simple. First find out earnings of company X. Earnings of company X. I have already told you it is very simple. Number of shares is how much actually? 4 lakh. Earning is how much actually? 6 rupees. So 4 lakh into 6. So you can say 4 lakh shares into 6 rupees. It comes to 24 lakhs. It comes to how much actually? 24 lakhs. Now earnings of company Y, you take that one. That is, it is very simple. 1 lakh into 4 rupees 50 paisa. So 1 lakh into 4 rupees 50 paisa, then it comes to 4 lakh 50,000. Now total earnings, it comes to how much actually? 28 lakhs 50,000. That is total earnings after merger. Total earnings after merger. After merger is 28 lakh 50,000. Now we have to find out earning per share after merger. After merger. Then how we have to find out? So it is very simple. What they have asked the question, the relative earnings per share of the two companies. Relative earnings means now we have to find out what actually, very simple concept, number of shares after the merger. Number of shares after the merger. How it is? X company shares is how much actually? 4 lakh. 4 lakh plus Y company shares is how much actually? 1 lakh. But you are supposed to do what actually? Proportion. So proportion is how much actually? X company earnings is 6 rupees, whereas Y company shares is how much actually? 4 rupees 50 paisa. So then what you have to do is into 4 rupees 50 paisa divided by 6. Divided by 6. Then it comes to 4 lakh plus 75,000. Then it comes to 4 lakh 75,000. It comes to how much actually? 4 lakh 75,000. That means after the merger, the proportion number of shares is 4 lakh 75,000. Now what you have to find out? Earnings after merger, that is EPS after the merger. After the merger, it is 28 lakh 50,000 divided by 4 lakh 75,000. It comes to 6 rupees. It comes to 6 rupees. You just see in the problem, what is the earnings per of X company? Is 6 rupees. What is the earnings after merger? Is 6 rupees. That means there is no impact. There is no impact for shareholders of X company. So you write first, no impact on EPS for the shareholders of X company. But now we have to find out equivalent earnings of the other one, that is equivalent earnings per share, EPS, where I am using EPS. I hope you are all well versed with the term. EPS means earning per share. EPS for the shareholders of Y company after merger. So you have to do what actually? 6 rupees into 4 rupees 50 paisa divided by 6. You should not get confused. 6 rupees is what? 6 rupees is the after merger, what you call? You are going to get that merger. into proportion. 4 rupees 50 paisa is the present, what actually this one. Then 6 rupees is the present EPS of what actually X company. So here they have given technically to confuse you. Even both the answers are one and the same. 4 rupees 50 paisa into divided by 6. Once again you will get what actually 4 rupees 50 paisa. When you cancel 6, once again it becomes actually 4 rupees 50 paisa. So it is very clear from the above, there is no impact on EPS after merger for both the companies. So your conclusion or comment from the above it is very clear there is no impact on EPS when exchange ratio is in proportion to the relative earnings per share of the two companies. So this is the first effect of merger on EPS when exchange ratio is in proportion to relative EPS. Now the second question is, that is, what is the impact for 4 shares of company X for every 5 shares held in company Y? So you have to write effect of second one, effect of merger on EPS when exchange ratio is 4:5. Now let us take total earnings. We have already calculated total earnings. It is 28,50,000. If you have a doubt, just go back, then you will get that is 28,50,000. I will explain once again. 4 lakh into 6 is 24 lakhs. 1 lakh into 4 rupees 50 paisa is 4,50,000. 24 lakhs plus 4 lakh 50, it becomes how much actually? 28,50,000. Number of shares after merger. So X company shares is 4 lakh, no change, plus 1 lakh plus 4 divided by 5. There we did it for EPS. Here we are doing it for actually the number of shares. For every 5 shares that you are going to get 4 shares of X company. Then it becomes 4 lakh plus 80,000. Then it comes to 4 lakh 80,000 shares, that is after merger. Now EPS after merger 28,50,000 divided by 4,80,000. So it comes to 5.937. That means I can say that 5 rupees 94 paisa. That is after merger 5 rupees 94 paisa. You can just see here, you can write it straight away. Say, what is the earnings per share before merger of X company? 6 rupees. Now after merger it is how much actually? 5 rupees 93 paisa. You can say it is plus or minus. It is minus. They are losing around 7 paisa per share, that is after merger. That is called as dilution. It is called as dilution. So that is the effect of for one company, for the acquiring company, that means it is going to lose. Then we will find out for what actually, for Y company also. First we will write the comment for that. Impact on EPS of company X shareholders. EPS before merger, it is how much actually? 6 rupees. EPS after merger, 5.937. Then dilution in EPS, that means we have lost how much actually? 0.063. That means around 6 paisa we are losing. In the similar fashion, we will find out impact on EPS for company Y shareholders. Equivalent, you should use always equivalent. Earnings per share, EPS before merger, you must be very careful. 4 rupees 50 paisa divided by 4 by 5. If you don't understand, or 4 rupees 50 paisa divided by 4 by 5, or 4 rupees 50 paisa into 5 divided by 4. Numerator becomes denominator, denominator becomes numerator. That is what you have learnt in your 5th standard, 6th standard. So it becomes what you call 5 rupees 625. That is 4.5 into 5 divided by 4, you will get 5.625. Now EPS after merger, 5.937. 5.625, but after merger is how much actually? 5.937. Even when you take proportion also, we are getting 5.625, but after merger we are getting 5.937. That means the company, the target company is getting what actually? Benefit, which is called as increase in EPS. Increase in EPS. It is 0.312. You know now, it is very simple. As per the first one, there is no impact. That is, as per the EPS exchange, there is no impact. When exchange of shares, it is called as, what do you mean by? The acquiring company is losing 0.06, which is called a dilution in EPS. Then whereas the selling company or target company has increased its EPS by 0.312. Then what we have to write? for more reliable analysis for more reliable analysis of of the impact of merger on EPS the growth rate of the two companies should also have been considered, because we do not know what is the growth rate of both the companies. The information which has been that we have worked out. So that means straight away we cannot jump into conclusion which is decreasing, which is increasing, but we have to take the other consideration also, that is growth rate of both the companies. This is how you have to write conclusion in your examination. Now problem number 3. Sunny Lamps Limited is taking over Moon Lamps Limited. As per understanding between the managements of the two companies, shareholders of Moon Lamps Limited would receive 0.7 shares of Sunny Lamps Limited. So they are receiving 0.7 shares of Sunny Lamps Limited, right, for each share held by them. The relevant data for the two companies are as follows. So Sunny Lamps Limited, then Moon Lamps Limited. Net sales rupees 80 lakh, that is 30 lakhs. 80-30 means it is in lakhs, so 80-30 means 80 lakhs, 30 lakhs. Profit after tax in lakhs 16.4. Number of shares in lakhs 3.2, then 1 lakh. Earnings per share 5.4. Market value per share 30.20. Price earning ratio 6 and 5. Ignoring the economies of scale and operating synergy, you are required to calculate a premium paid by Sunny Lamps Limited to the shareholders of Moon Lamps Limited. That means that you have to calculate what actually premium paid by Sunny Lamps Limited. It is very simple. It is 0.7. So we have to calculate 0.7 into that amount. Then we'll get what is the amount that they are going to get. Premium paid by Sunny Lamps Limited to the shareholders of Moon Lamps Limited. Second one, the number of shares after merger. Combined EPS, then combined P ratio, then market value per share, then total market capitalization after the merger. Almost you will get all the questions in this problem. Let us work out one by one. Don't think it is too lengthy. It is very easy. We will work out one by one. So the first one is premium paid by the Sunny Lamps Limited to shareholders of Moon Lamps Limited. How much they are giving. So value of each share of Sunny Limited that is 30 into 0.7. 30 into 0.7. It is how much actually? 21. 21. Here you see, say the management of the two companies, shareholders of Moon Limited would receive 0.7 shares of Sunny Lamps Limited for each share held by them. So, how many shares are there? It is 30. That is here it is correctly. Market value is how much actually 30 into 0.7. It is how much actually 21. 21. Then value of each share in Moon's Lamps Limited. Moon's Lamps Limited, it is 20. It is 20. Alright. Now, how much premium that you are getting? You are getting a premium per share is, that is 1. So, premium paid per share is 1. You can calculate even in percentage. Premium in percentage. Percentage 1 divided by 20 into 100 is equal to 5%. Is equal to 5%. So, first question is over. Now, second question. Second question is what? Number of shares after the merger. Number of shares after the merger. So, we will find out. Second one, number of shares after merger. After merger. Number of shares before merger in Sunny Lamps Limited 3,20,000. It is 3.2 lakhs. It is 3,20,000. Then number of shares paid. Number of shares paid to shareholders of Moon Lamps Limited. Moon Lamp Limited. That is 1 lakh into 0.7 into 0.7. If you don't understand, I will write it here. 0.7. It comes to 70,000. Then it is how much actually? 3,90,000. That is total number of shares after merger. So, second question is over. Now, what is the third question? Combined EPS. You have to find out combined. That means of the two companies. So, the third one, combined EPS. Combined EPS after tax, that is combined profit after tax 16 lakhs plus 4 lakhs is equal to 20 lakhs. I hope I am not getting you anything. Here it is there, 16 lakhs, then 4 lakhs. 16 lakhs, 4 lakhs, then it comes to exactly 20 lakhs. then combined EPS is equal to combined profit after tax divided by number of shares after merger. Combined after tax, it is how much actually? 20 lakhs divided by number of shares after merger is, we have calculated, it is 3,90,000. 3,90,000 is equal to 5.13. So combined EPS after merger is 5.13. The next question is fourth question, combined PE ratio. So combined PE ratio is the fourth question. Combined PE ratio, profit earning ratio. We can easily come to know 6 into 16 divided by 20, you will understand, plus 5 into 4 divided by 20. This 20 is common, that which has been taken for consideration of the value. So 6 into 16 divided by 20 plus 5 into 4 divided by 20. If you simplify, you will get 5 rupees 80 paisa. It is combined PE ratio. Then fifth question. What is the fifth question? Fifth question is market value per share. Market value per share. So fifth question is market value per share. Market value per share is equal to PE ratio into EPS. PE ratio into EPS. PE ratio, just now we found out 5.80. Into EPS also we have found out, that is 5.13. 5.13. If you have a doubt, you can see here in the problem, it is 5.13. That is combined EPS. This is combined, what actually? P ratio. It comes to 5.13 is equal to 29.754. You calculate, you will get it. I have done it with calculation, 29.754. Then what is the last question? Total market capitalization. That means you have acquired capitalization after the merger. So sixth question, total market capitalization after merger. Market value per share into number of shares. Everything is here, we have already calculated. Market value per share is how much actually? 29.754. Into, we have already calculated the number of shares, that is after combination. It is 3,90,000. So it comes to 116.04 lakhs. 116.04 lakhs. This is how we have to work out when several points have been given in the problem under mergers and acquisition. Now problem number 4. The following data relates to two companies M and N. Number of equity shares 20,000, 10,000. Profit after tax 60,000, 20,000. Price earning ratio 20, 12. EPS 3, 2. Company M considering the purchase of company N. So target company is N, purchasing company is what actually M. In exchange of one share in M for every 2 shares held in N. That means 2 shares of N is equal to 1 share of N. You are required to illustrate the impact of merger on earnings per share, assuming that there would be synergy benefits. Try to understand what is synergy. Synergy benefits means 2 plus 2 is not equal to 4, it is 5. 1 plus 1 is not equal to 2, it is 3. That means we are getting more than the required benefit is called as what actually? Synergy. So you should understand that synergy. So I have given one problem on synergy benefit, which is equal to 25% increase in the present earnings after tax due to what actually? Merger. So where we have to find out that the impact. We have to find out the impact. So let us work out, that is total present earnings, total present earnings of M and N. M and N. Present earnings is 60,000 and 20,000. So you can write 60,000 plus 20,000. It comes to how much actually? 80,000. 80,000. Add 25% increase in earnings due to synergy benefits. That is 20,000. If you have a doubt, 25% of 80,000. So 25% is what actually? Half is 40, another half is 20. If you have a doubt, you can say that 80,000 into 25 divided by 100. I have written this also. Then you will get only 20,000. Then it comes to how much actually? 1 lakh. 1 lakh. Total earnings after merger, 1 lakh. Then total number of shares, after merger, you know it is 20,000 and you know it is 10,000 is there. He says that every 2 shares it is only 1 share. Then it becomes actually half of that. So that means 20,000 plus 10,000 into 1 by 2 is equal to 20,000 plus 5,000. It comes to 25,000. It comes to 25,000. So EPS per share, that is EPS after the merger is equal to 1 lakh divided by 25,000. I hope you can say 1 lakh is here, 25,000 we have found out. It comes to 4 rupees. So now we have to find the impact. That impact we have to find out very simple. So impact on EPS of M company shareholders. M company's shareholders. EPS before merger, you know that it is how much actually? 3. EPS before merger is how much actually? 3. Now EPS after merger, it is 4. So that means you have an increase of how much actually? 1. So increase in EPS is 1 rupee for whom? For M company. Likewise, you have to find out the impact on EPS of N company shareholders. Equivalent earnings. You should always remember, when share exchange ratio has been taken for granted for every 2 shares, 1 shares, then for every 5 shares, 4 shares, likewise when it has been given, you are supposed to use the word equivalent. Equivalent EPS before merger, that is 2 divided by 1 by 2, or 2 divided by 1 by 2 is equal to 2 by 1 into 2, because half divided by half is equal to 1. Likewise, 2 divided by half is equal to how much actually? 4. Then EPS after merger, is 4. So there is no what actually impact. Impact is 0. Before also 4, after also 4. So there is no change in EPS. Or no increase or no decrease. Now problem number 5. You are provided with following data of 2 company, T Limited, A Limited. Earnings after taxes 7 lakh, 10 lakh. Equity share outstanding, that is number 2 lakh, 4 lakh. Earnings per share 3 rupees 50 paisa, 2 rupees 50 paisa. P ratio, price earning ratio in times 10 and 14. Market price per share 35. A Limited is acquiring the company D Limited, exchanging its shares on 1-to-1 basis. That means it is equal. 1-to-1 means it is equal, no problem at all. So I have given for 4 shares, it is for 5 shares, 4 shares, for 2 shares, 1 shares, and I have given one more problem for 1 share, 1 share. That means you can have all the what you call plus points and minus points. The exchange ratio is based on market price. Underline, the exchange ratio is based on market price of shares of the 2 companies. What will be the EPS subsequent to merger? That means after merger. What is the change in EPS for the shareholders of company A and T? Determine the market value of the post-merger firm. So you have to calculate 3 things. So let us calculate one by one. That is first question A, share exchange ratio. It is 1:1 is equal to market price of T Limited divided by market price of A Limited. It is one and the same, 35 by 35, it is 1:1. So number of shares issued to T Limited after merger is 2 lakh into 1 is equal to 2 lakh. So no change. It is 1. So EPS after merger is equal to total earnings or what actually combined earnings of A and T divided by number of shares of A and T. That is here it is there. It is how much actually? So total earnings is, that is 10 lakhs plus 7 lakhs. I hope you will come to know earnings after tax is 7 lakh, 10 lakh. 10 lakhs of A Limited, 7 lakhs of T Limited. Right? Now divided by number of shares. Number of shares also you can say it is how much? You can say it is 4 lakhs and 2 lakhs. It is 4 lakh plus 2 lakh is equal to 17 lakhs divided by 6 lakhs is equal to 2.833. So EPS after merger is 2.833. Now what is the next question? The next question, what is the change in EPS for the shareholders of company A and T? So second question is change in EPS. For first company A. I am doing in different methods so that you can follow any method for your examination, either the previous problems or this problem, whichever is convenient for you, you can follow it. Say EPS before merger, you see it is 2 rupees 50 paisa. 2 rupees 50 paisa. Right? Then EPS after merger after merger 2 rupees 83 paisa. So it is increase of EPS, increase in EPS. Then likewise company T, that is EPS before merger EPS before merger is 3 rupees 50 paisa. 3 rupees 50 paisa. Equivalent, I hope you say that always you are supposed to use equivalent EPS after merger 2 rupees 83 paisa. So there is a decrease of 0.67. Decrease in EPS. So one company will get plus, the other company will get what actually? Minus. The last question is determine the market value of the post-merger firm. So that is C. Market value of the merger firm is equal to MPS after merger multiplied by number of shares after merger, that is 39.62 into 6 lakhs is equal to 2 crore 37 lakh 72,000. How you got it? MPS after merger is equal to EPS after merger into PE ratio assumed to be same after merger, because nothing has been mentioned in the problem. For that sake, it has been assumed. So 2.83 into 14. Always you should take the benefit. So it comes to 39.62. You may be confused with one thing. It is very simple. This 39.92, how 39.62, how you got it? From here to here. Say that means straight away I calculated, I did it, but I have shown you the calculation how you should do it. So MPS after merger is EPS after merger into PE ratio assumed to be same after merger, 2.8383 into 14 you will get, then it is 2 crore 37 lakh 72,000. This is how you have to work out the problems for mergers and acquisition. Students, you have any confusion? Just I would like to get you one more clarification. I hope you know that 2.83 how you got it. That is 2.83. First we have calculated, that is EPS after merger. Then I have taken 14, that is P ratio assumed to be the same after merger. That is A limited is taking over what actually the T limited. So P ratio is how much actually? 14 of A limited, because the company which is purchasing, that only we are supposed to take. That is why it has been called as what actually assumed. So 2.83 into 14, then it comes to how much actually? 13.62. Then for that the total is 6 lakhs. You know that 6 lakhs how you got it? That is 2 lakh plus 4 lakhs. Total is how much actually? 6 lakh. Now the capitalization is 2 crore 37 lakh 72,000. I hope you followed. If you have confusion, for that sake again I explained you the concept. Right? I wish all of you all the best.